All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Sunday night. Another edition of Knicks Weekly, episode 67. We are getting it going, man. On tonight's episode, the disrespect is real, man. We're going to go in on ESPN's post-off-season power rankings. Of course, they disrespected the Knicks. Well, let's talk about it. Plus, our season review series kicks off. We're going to review this past season for one, Julius Randle and Quentin Grimes. Plus, this is a Jets takeover, a Jets fan crossover pod. And we're going to do that. Alice is very excited. We're going to do that with our guy, Jake Asman from the Jake Asman Show. So, action-packed show, man. Lock in. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Hit that like button. Hit the share button. And subscribe to the channel. Let's get it going, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Happy to be back. Another great show, man. Knicks Weekly is becoming the talk of the town, man. So, salute to everybody. Salute to Jake, man. We got Jake Asman in the building. Jake, how you feeling, man?
CP, Alex, I'm pumped, man. I feel like I know you guys. I know we've interacted a little bit off the air, but CP, you've been kind enough over the years to come on the radio show. Yeah. Alex, you and I have been DMing about the Jets for years and talking Knicks, so I watch you guys all the time during the season, so thanks for having me on tonight. I can't wait.
Absolutely, man. Happy to have you on, no question about it. And Al, how you feeling, man? How was your weekend, man? Mr. Vegas, how was your weekend, bro?
It was good, man. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. We got to see Jalen Brunson get married. Congratulations to the Brunson family. Yep. We see Isaiah Hartenstein getting married. Yep. And congratulations to the Hartenstein family. But they're not the only one with news, CP.
Okay.
I got some news.
What you got, bro?
This weekend, my wife and I had a baby shower.
Whoa, okay.
Yes,
all
sir.
Right, let's talk about it.
We had a baby shower, man. So I'm now joining your ranks. And going into fatherhood soon. Baby's due in September.
There we go.
So right around the corner.
Absolutely fantastic news, bro. Congratulations to you and your lady, man, and your lovely wife. We had a chance to hang out during the playoffs, man. So it was good to build with you guys just outside of the whole, KnicksFanTV hysteria. But yeah, man, very happy for you, man. Proud of you, and there's nothing like being a dad, bro. So wishing you the best of luck and just all the joy that comes with it, man. All the sleepless nights, all of that. Oh, it's all worth it, man.
I'm ready. I'm ready. And to make it even better, CP, I'm joining the ranks with you and JD because I'm having a son.
There we go.
We're all gonna have sons.
Oh man, even better. Even better. Young Knicks fans in the making. Even better, man.
We already got him a Knicks hoop. His aunt got him a Knicks hoop already.
There we go.
Hanging in the bedroom. We're good to go.
There we go, man. Everybody in the chat, just hail up Alex in the chat, man. Just throw congratulations to the Stratocaster. Young Stratocaster Jr. is on the way. When do you do?
September 9th, to be exact.
Perfect. Even better. Even better, a September baby, man. Congratulations once again, man.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. You know what? Give me 2 seconds. I just want to switch out my connection real quick. We shouldn't drop off. I just want to switch out my connection because I'm on the Wi-Fi and it's kind of glitching. Give me 2 seconds. So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Should be good to go. So Alex has good family news, and so does the floor general, Jalen Brunson, man. The floor general got his party on after he tied the knot and said I do to his lovely fiance, now wife, Allie. So shout out to Jalen Brunson and the Brunson clan. They got married over the weekend. Star-studded affair. Several Knicks in the building. RJ was in there. You saw Josh Hart, obviously the Nova connection. DiVincenzo, looks like DiVincenzo was in the wedding. Julius was in there as well. So looked like a fun-filled night for Brunson and his squad, and just another notch on his a stellar year for him, a stellar past couple of years for Jalen Brunson. So Brunson tied the knot, and Al, as you said, Isaiah Hartenstein tied the knot as well. So fantastic for those guys. How about the Crawford Spence fight? Did either of you catch the fight last night?
I did.
Baby shower, bro.
Yeah.
You're a little busy. You have a pretty good excuse for that. Dude, what a night for combat sports last night, because you got a UFC card going on with Gaethje having an incredible knockout, too. Just unbelievable. But, man, that performance by Crawford, pound for pound, was one of the great performances on that stage you might ever see. Errol Spence is no joke, man, and he dominated him.
Dominated him.
I know boxing's not as big as it once was, but man, I was out last night here in Houston and the bars were packed. People were into it. Like that was an otherworldly performance by Spence.
I got to tell you, man, like you said, you know, the sport, it's just not what it used to be. But I was looking forward to this fight. I was a little, you know, crossed up just as far as who to pick. But I was leaning Crawford just based on, you know, his past fights, the experience factor. I think he had like 10 more fights over Spence. And just the power, man. And, you know, the first round, Spence came out. He was the aggressor. And you know, you kind of saw Crawford just kind of lining him up, taking his time, being patient with him. But from the second round on, once he knocked him down, it was just textbook Crawford. And by the third round, I said, nah, Spence is overmatched. And like you said, Jake, I've never seen that before, right? You never see Errol Spence just get worked like that. But once Crawford settled in by the third round, you could tell he was just overpowering Errol Spence. The power was just too much to match. And I didn't think Crawford, his defense wasn't good at all. You could hear his corner man saying, you know, you got to move your feet. He's just standing in the pocket, just getting lit up. So it was tough. But, you know, because after the heavyweights, like from back in the day, obviously I was a big Tyson head. That's how I got into the sport. But the welterweights was really where I really enjoyed the sport growing up. You know what I mean? It was Floyd. You had, you know, De La Hoya, Trinidad, all these guys like that. That was really the class that really got me into the game. So Crawford and Spence kind of still had my interest. But, you know, I was hoping for a trilogy. These guys might not even get a rematch, even though it's up to Spence. I don't even see a rematch happening for these guys, man. It was that one-sided.
It's tough because Crawford just was laying it on. I give Spence credit for hanging in there. I thought the stoppage was at the appropriate time as well. Yeah. But, I mean, Crawford, I mean, how is he not, you know, pound for pound the number one fighter in the sport after that? Like, there's no argument after what he did. Yeah.
Easily, man, easily. And then, as you said, so after that, then I switched over to Gaethje and Poirier for the BMF title. First off, Black Beast, I forgot who he fought, but he beat some guy in record timing with a flying knee. So Black Beast continues to impress and entertain the fans in the heavyweight division. But Poirier and Gaethje got his revenge with a lethal head kick and almost knocked Poirier's head off, even though Poirier had his arm up, had his hand up. And still ate the canvas. So UFC 291 was a good card. Spence Crawford, you know, was what it was. Still entertaining for what it was. And yeah, man, that's that. But let's get to the hoops, man. Let's get to the disrespect. This is what we like to talk about here on KnicksFanTV. And ESPN, fellas, came out with their post-off-season power rankings. Let's go through this and react. Number one, the champs. Put some respect on their name, Denver Nuggets. I like that. Okay. Number two, Milwaukee Bucks. All right. Number three, the Boston Celtics. Okay. Now, all right. I'm on board. Number four, Phoenix Suns. I got to give them credit. They made it. They had a good offseason for what it's worth. I put them up there. Number five, Miami Heat. I'm put a little asterisk right there, Jake. I'm a dog ear that one and come back to that because I thought that was a little too rich for my blood. Number six, Philadelphia 76ers. Number seven, the Los Angeles Lakers. Number eight, Golden State Warriors. Number nine, the Cleveland Cavaliers. I still haven't seen anything orange and blue yet. Number 10, the Memphis Grizzlies. 11, the Clippers. 12, the Kings. And here we go, lucky number 13, the New York Knicks. And they put the Dallas Tankers number 14. We shouldn't even be in the same. We shouldn't even be in the same region as those guys. I don't know. Who wants to take this one first, man? I'll go with you, man. What'd you think about this, man?
Man, this is just utterly disgusting to have the Knicks under the Cavs. Like, and it's not even like 9-10 Cavs there, and then Knicks. It's like saying, oh, because you like the re-signing of Karis LeVert, you like bringing Georges Niang, you like Max Strus. You're saying now better than the Knicks. Give me a break, man. Just give me a break. We beat the brakes off of them. That's like marginal upgrades for them. The Knicks are still better in my eyes. There were other aggressors. The whole talk was like, oh, they got the Twin Towers. We needed one guy, Mitchell Robinson, to take the Twin Towers down over there. So yeah. I don't get how you can have the Cavs ranked so highly over the Knicks. But I also got questions on the entire list. Like, I wouldn't have, as you said, Miami is too high. Philly's too rich for my blood. I'm like, for a team that's in disarray right now, putting them at 6 is a little too rich, you know. I think the Suns are a little too high. I put the Lakers over the Suns in all honesty, but that's how I feel about the team. Yeah. So I think the list is just all over the place.
Yeah. Jake, how you look at this?
Completely agree with the fact that Cleveland being higher than the Knicks is asinine. If anyone actually watched what happened in the playoffs last year, but also the list has 5 Eastern Conference teams in front of the Knicks. So ESPN's telling you they think the Knicks are at best a 6 seed right now going in. I don't know if I buy that. There's too much going on. With like the Sixers storyline, and I don't know. I can't in good look. What do these lists really mean at the end of the day? Nothing. But they get us fired up as Knicks fans, and rightfully so. Right. Because how can you put the Knicks behind the Cleveland Cavaliers when the Knicks smoked them in 5 games in the playoffs?
That was Knicks for clicks.
Yep.
Switcheroo.
Exactly.
They pulled the old foot trick on us for us to click on this article and talk about it, because there's no way, even with the upgrades, Strus, Niang, okay, they say Imani Bates, steal of the draft, you still got to respect it. We whooped them in a gentleman's sweep. There's no way that you put the Cavs 9 and the Knicks all the way down to 13. Furthermore, Miami Heat at 5. With what just transpired over the weekend in terms of Commissioner Silver coming out and saying, listen, all this Dame, Miami or bust, or I'm not playing for anybody else, slow all of that down. So it's not to say that Dame doesn't get to Miami. Maybe he still does, but it's not a slam dunk as much as we thought it was. And if they don't get Dame, how do you put them 5th? They're a notoriously slow starting team. Last year, you had Jimmy Butler talking about he doesn't take the regular season serious until post-All-Star break. And he's coming in a year older. Lowry's a year older. Love is a year older. How do you put them 5th? There's no way. And especially if they don't get Dame, they lost Strus, they lost Vincent. I'm dropping Miami down just like I did last year. I had them hovering around 7, 8, around that. I felt like they were going to take a step back, even though they came back like Lazarus in the play-in and ultimately to the finals. Great job by them. I'm putting them back down in that area of the East. There's no way I'm putting them 5th. Philly, same thing. If Harden is gone, there's no way I can keep Philly up there at 6. I just don't see it.
Even if he's not gone, with saying like you want out, like how do you get the buy-in of Joel Embiid and the rest of your teammates being like, oh, he wants out, he doesn't want to stay here. We could probably do something. Like I don't know how you as a teammate come in unless Harden comes in here showing that he's truly dedicated and bought in day one and says, I'm going to commit to this team no matter what and play his butt off even better than what he did last season. I don't know how you can have Philly at 6. There's just too much there for me to be like, all right, you're telling me they're better than the Warriors? Yeah. I trust the Warriors with Chris Paul on that team being better than Philly than what Philly is offering right now. This whole list, man. And look, I know the Suns, like I get it, all the offseason signings, but just legit saw the Lakers reshape their roster by the trade deadline and then go all the way to the Western Conference Finals. They added Gabe Vincent. I think their roster is slightly improved more to be a little bit more consistent, especially to get out of the gates hot. I could see them being better than the Suns right now, just because you're talking about Kevin Durant injury prone, Bradley Beal injury prone. Are you going to get Ayton playing at the level that you want him to play? That's a big question mark. Devin Booker, I know he's going to hoop, but also even some time last season. There's just too many ifs, man, for everything to go right. Yeah. I don't think they have the depth there necessarily when all those guys, if anyone misses time, someone's got to sit. I'm not buying it.
Well, the other aspect too, from a Knicks standpoint, clearly they're not valuing the fact the Knicks bring back continuity and they have a bunch of young players that could take a step forward. Like we're going to talk about Quentin Grimes in a little bit. Like that's a guy who I would think now going into his 3rd season could take another step. I think there's another level, as we saw in the playoffs, to a guy like Jalen Brunson's game, who's still just 26 years old. So there's that factor with the Knicks, how they could be better if they're young players who they're clearly to this point are showing they want to keep the continuity and develop. If they take a step forward, the Knicks are a better team than where they have them on this list.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. It's not even taking into account another year of chemistry with this core, another year with these younger players. You just had quickly finished 2nd in the league in terms of the best bench player in the entire league. We'll see what Quentin Grimes can do as we'll segue to him in a little bit. RJ year 5, how does that look? How does Brunson and Randle, that tandem look? How do they look going into the playoffs? Knock on wood if they go in healthy. you just never know. I like the pickup of DiVincenzo. I think he's going to give the bench a big boost. We'll see how Hart looks. I think Hart is going to be slated in there as a backup 4. You get the small ball that a lot of fans have been looking for Tibbs, right? A little small, a little bit small. We'll see how that looks. But, there's no way I'm putting them 13. You look at Memphis. How does Memphis look with losing Morant for a quarter of the season? Will they still be there? Obviously, you're going to count on, no Dylan Brooks, but Desmond Bane coming in another year after a big year that he had last year. How does Marcus Smart impact that team? Yeah, Memphis is still going to be tough, especially defensively. But without their engine in John Morant for a quarter of the season, do I automatically slot them in at 10th? And they lost Tyus Jones. They lost Tyus Jones to DC, one of the best backup point guards in the league. So I think Memphis is going to be questionable. Clippers, well, look, if they get Harden, obviously you're going to have to keep them up there. But right now, they're still going to be the Los Angeles load management. I mean, Ty Lue came out and said that he wants Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to take the regular season seriously. But that's if they can. That's if they could even.
Only in the
healthy.
NBA do you say that,
right?
He wants the 2 best players of the team, the two top 15 players in the league to take the regular season.
Please
only in the NBA does this happen.
Right?
Oh my God.
Where else do you hear that? You're exactly right, Jake. So it's a very interesting list. I would put the Kings over us. I would slightly put them over us a little bit, but There's no way. You're not putting us next to the Mavericks, man. I think the Knicks should be at least 9.
I did a little number. I did a little revamp.
Okay.
So this.
What do you think?
So 1 through 3, I'm keeping it the same. Starting at 4,
okay.
On the Lakers, 5 Suns. I know you want to drop the Heat. I'm gonna give them the respect.
I'm dropping.
I'm gonna keep them up at 6. All right. I'm gonna give them. I'll leave it there for
all
now.
right. I'm dropping.
Warriors 7, Philly 8, Memphis 9, Knicks 10, Kings 11, Clips 12, Cavs 13. That's where I'm going to have the Cavs.
I think you insulted us a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I think you did. I didn't. I don't like 10. Then I don't like 10.
Where do you want them? 9?
Yeah.
So you swap them with Memphis.
Yep. Swap them with Memphis.
I'm giving Memphis just a little bit more, just because they've been in the playoffs a little more. A little bit more. That's the only reason.
They got D-Rose.
They got D-Rose. There it is.
They got D-Rose. Exactly.
We make the Rose Hive happy, man. There that is, man. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Gamba says, I got Corey's cam up on their Jake. Let me see here. Oh, I do have Corey's cam up on the Jake. Okay. All right, we'll just do a quick fix here. No problem. All right, let me just swap that out there. We are going to get into Quentin Grimes next. Player reviews, man. And Quentin Grimes in the news quite a bit this week. He's out all over. He's actually in Houston, Jake, at U of H, working out with Aaron Miller. You had the comments by JJ Redick, very, very high on Quentin Grimes and his potential for next season, man. Let me pull up this JJ Redick clip. And for those we did put it up on the channel, but for those of you that did not hear it, let's get to JJ Redick on Quentin Grimes. This is from the Old Man in 3 podcast. And Jake, I'll have you kick us off with the reaction. Here's JJ Redick on Grimes.
It's I got one more for actually. I'm just looking through the 2021 draft. I got one more for you. Let's assume Knicks don't make a trade, right?
Yeah.
The guy that could potentially give them another 5 wins in the regular season and really, really help them in the playoffs. I think, as much as people talk about Quickly's awesome. Quentin Grimes.
Yeah, it was
some
great.
Improvement offensively, some improvement with consistency shooting the basketball. He's highly competitive, highly energetic. He fits on that team. He fits on that roster. Quentin Grimes is another one. There you go, Knicks fans. There's some positivity.
Right. I got another.
There's some positivity. Thanks, JJ. We're really counting on you to help us here.
I hope he's right. I hope he's right, CP. I mean, if Quentin Grimes gives the Knicks another 5 wins, they're going from a 47-win team in the regular season to a 52-win team. I mean, that would be unbelievable. But here's what I'll say about Grimes. Every year you watched him in college, and I watched him at UH when he helped lead them to a Final Four a couple of years ago, because we cover them down here, because I do afternoon radio for ESPN Houston, so we were all over that UH run a couple of years ago. He got better every year. Like his college coach, Kelvin Sampson, is very similar to Thibodeau as far as like preaching defense and the importance on that. So like I knew when the Knicks took him, like, all right, they were at least going to get a guy that was going to come in and be a good defender, and we saw that as a rookie. His 3-point percentage improved year over year. His shooting percentage as a whole improved. If they play him and he gets the opportunity to help space the floor again, I definitely could see him taking another step. Is he going to add 5 more wins to their win total? I mean, that would be awesome. I don't know if I'd go as far as JJ Redick went, but I definitely think there's another level for a guy like Grimes now going into his 3rd season with the Knicks.
Al, what's your take here?
I think there is another level. It's just the question for me, though, like what we saw from this past season, and we knew what we were getting out of him, as Jake said. For me, it was like I knew we're at least getting a 3-and-D player, and he already met that expectation in year 2 after not playing that many games year 1 on New York Knicks. So for him to reach his floor in year 2 and to be that impressive while doing it, whether having games where he's just shooting 5 for 8 from the field, from 3-point range, I should say, his defense, guarding the best offensive player on the court. You talked about it for your update when Grimes got selected for the U.S. Select, which should also tell people how other coaches see him, right? Kerr being part of that. That's telling you what he thinks of Quentin Grimes in the league already. So not only that, but then his quick first step, right? I think we saw a little bit of playmaking from him this past season. I think there is another level to his game. And when you just look at like the Houston highlights, stuff they did in high school, I know not all of it will always transfer for every player, what they did previously at all their other stops. But just watching even just like the little bit and not even overreacting from the practices this summer, you can just see the fluidity. There's something more to his game that needs to be discovered. The question is, will the Knicks be able to figure out how to keep him more involved in the offense this season? Because what we saw last season, there are times where he himself, Grimes, could take himself out of the game. Tibbs doesn't call his number enough. We see Brunson and Randle can go really ISO heavy, and then Grimes can just get lost to the wayside. So for him, can he take that next step? And look, for a guy that played over 2,000 minutes, he only took 602 shots. To give you an idea of where that ranks amongst all of his other teammates, Emmanuel quickly played 2,344 minutes, took 936 attempts. Grimes played 2,121 minutes, took 602 attempts. So got to get him more involved, man. Got to get him more involved in the offense.
Yeah, I agree on that wholeheartedly. And look, we know what Grimes' calling card has been for this team, and not just last year, but his rookie year as well, and it starts on the defensive end. And this year, his role increased by, number one, they jumped him into the starting lineup as soon as he could be healthy, because they knew they needed his defense, get Fournier out of there, and ultimately get Cam Reddish out of there as well. This is according to B-Ball Index, 100th percentile on on-ball perimeter defense. Also 100% percentile in ball screen navigation. And this was a guy who was chasing around on many nights, most nights, the best player, the best wing or perimeter player on the opposing team. And so you can't discredit that, because with this Knicks team, with their big 3 being average to below average defensively, Grimes is necessary. He's necessary. I know a lot of fans are down on him from a shooting standpoint, but you got to get stops too. And you got to make it difficult for the opponent to score. And that was Quentin Grimes, man. He was tough as nails as a defender, and the numbers back it up. The eye test backs it up. So defensively, he was there, and he was consistently there for this team, which was a major plus as just a sophomore in this league. This was another stat from NBA University. Opponents only shot 31.4%, or 0.2 points per possession on Grimes in isolation. It's great numbers.
Great numbers.
How about the playoff game 5 at the Garden? He plays all 48 minutes. The Knicks season's on the line, and he injures himself on the previous play, gets back out there, guards Jimmy Butler, comes up with the steal, and that essentially locked up the game for the Knicks. Then, like that, he became a true Knick in my eyes as a diehard fan with that one play, playing all 48 minutes. But that play symbolized why Knick fans love Grimes so much, because he he plays defense and he's tough as nails, and that's what we love.
Big time. Big time. And then Al, you talked about the amount of shot, how efficient he was last year, especially in the regular season. His points per shot attempt increased by a big margin. Number one, because yes, he played more, he got more shots up, but also between shooting close to 40% from three during the regular season, and then also his efficiency at the rim, his effective field goal percentage was really good. It was really good. He was at 60%. He was in the 85th percentile in effective field goal percentage. Shot 71% from the rim and 39% from three. Now, is there a mid-range bag for him to discover? I think that's left to be seen, right? I think there is some untapped potential there. He does a good job of attacking closeouts. That's a great job. And another key stat that I pointed out to our friends on the channel last week was he was fifth in the league in terms of quick decision passing percentage. Fifth in the league at 8%. I believe it was 8.75%. That was one of the things that Tibbs loves about him. And in this Tibbs system, even though people don't like the system, people don't like read and react, the thing is too ISO heavy. With a read and react offense, you need guys with high IQ, guys that are versatile, can play make, can shoot, can pass. He could do those things. But most importantly, you got to make quick decisions. Read and react. You got to make quick decisions. And that's why Quentin Grimes is so important in terms of just being a connector and a glue piece in this offense. So, he has the intangibles. He has the defense. It's just offensively, I think it's two things. Number one, they need other guys on this lineup, other guys in this rotation to do the same. Make quick decisions, make quick reads, keep moving the ball. The Knicks continue to be terrible in terms of facilitating the ball. They're always near the bottom of the league in terms of passing. And so that's on Tibbs, that's on Julius, that's on Brunson to get that ball moving, get that ball spraying, get it to your best three-point shooter on the team. Got to get it to Grimes, man. Got to get it to him. But also, when he gets the ball, he's got to shoot the ball better, man. But, in the playoffs, he was abysmal, man. 24% from three, 30% from the field. I believe he was like 8% wide open threes. He was pretty dreadful in the playoffs, especially in that Miami series. And so I think offensively, it's twofold. It's them getting the ball to him, and he's got to work on his efficiency, especially when the games matter.
For sure. But the thing that I like, CP and Jake, from what I saw from Grimes is that, we go back to the efficiency. Another number that I like to look at is true shooting percentage, right? And from year one, where he only played 46 games, his true shooting percentage was 56.5%. He took a jump from that to 61.9%. That's playing 71 games. Okay. And for people that don't know, true shooting percentage, unlike effective field goal percentage, which only incorporates 2 points and 3 pointers, true shooting incorporates the free throw. So he doesn't even get to the line that much. He averages 1.4 free throw attempts, and he shot about 79% from the free throw line. If he can, the one thing I need to say, and for him being that efficient without even getting to the line that much, it's so interesting, because if he can draw the contact, get to the free throw line, that's his scoring potential, man, and efficient scoring can go through the roof. So that's why it's when you see these numbers, you just the eye test that goes with it. There's a lot there, man. It's just how do you get him more involved, and how do you make sure that he just doesn't go to the wayside from what we saw last season? It's both, like you said, CP, right? It's a confidence for him to know that, okay, I should have the green light too. And also having just better judgment, all right, when do I facilitate? When he attacks and you find Mitch, that's an easy shot. But you don't have to pump fake or just wait, and just when you have an open three, just let it rip, right? But then it also comes down to the mid-range game, because that will open up everything. If he could be a 3-level scorer, that changes everything.
He's one of the few guys that you look at and say, all right, there's another level to it. I think Brunson is another level as far as being a superstar, but the young players on this team, I think we kind of know what Julius Randle is as a player. We'll talk about him coming up. I think we kind of know, maybe RJ could be a little better, but I think we kind of know RJ is a very good player. He's maybe never going to be a star level player. I think we don't truly know what Quickly is necessarily. We don't truly know what Grimes is necessarily. That's how you kind of make up those 5 games that Reddick was talking about, a combination of some of these young players who we don't know. We think they have a higher ceiling. They take that next step, as you guys outlined. I think Grimes could do it, man. I agree with everything you guys said. I think he's a big piece for this team, assuming they keep him.
And Jake, you said, we're talking about 52 wins, right? With another 5 games. They were on a 53 game win pace prior to once they went to the lineup change. So if they can even get 5 games out of Grimes, maybe that's even more. I'm not saying it will be, but that's drastic. That's what JJ Redick's thinking.
True indeed, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let's get those likes up. We got Jake Asman in the building, CP, Alex, somebody in the chat called Alex the Datacaster. So we got a new nickname for you, Al. Your nicknames are piling up, so salute to you. Salute to everybody who sent the super chat, man. Randy Hamilton, salute. Brian Fishman, $10 super chat, says, what's good, CP and Alex? Congrats, Alex. He says, okay, Brian Fishman, okay, appreciate it. V-Man, salute. Jamal Anderson joined the Fanchise channel members, man. Salute to Jamal Anderson, 35, joining the loyal Fanchise channel members. Appreciate it. And shout out to Euro De Niro, $5 super chat. He says, honestly, I enjoy everyone sleeping on us. Makes it that much easier to catch them off guard and ease back to the top 5. Okay. All right, so once again, this is Knicks Weekly, episode 67. We're just getting into our season review series, man, talking Quentin Grimes. We're going to get into Julius Randle. If you guys want to call us up, man, call us up, 657-383-1509, or you can hit us up on the KnicksFanTV Discord. Okay, so we touched on Grimes. Grimes is in H-Town right now. He said, everybody's getting married. I'm working on my craft. Go ahead and enjoy. And shout out to Grimes, man. He's definitely getting that working. We are on the Discord. Jay from East New York. If you hear us, go ahead and unmute your mic. Jay from East New York.
Yo, CP, you can hear me?
Loud and clear. How you feeling, Van? How you feeling?
So I want to start off. I want to say congratulations to my guy, Alex. I'm also a father. My son is 2 years old, man. I have a daughter on the way. My wife is 27 weeks. So
nice.
Being a father is a beautiful thing, brother. And when you live streaming and you podcasting, make sure you got a good lock on that door because my son loves running in when I'm podcasting.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Shameless plug. I have my own little space that I run on Twitter, Anytime Knicks Show. You can catch me Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. So, my son, he loves to interrupt my show and let everybody know he's the real star. So get ready for that. Quentin Grimes. I'm somebody that I've been rooting for Quentin Grimes ever since I caught wind of him a little bit before the draft combined. And I did my research on him. And it's crazy because I was actually just looking at some old 2021 Knicks Fan TV, the pre-draft show with Rafael Barlow and all of that. Mm-hmm. And coming out of his first year in college, he was looked at like a Josh Hart type, somebody that could bring the ball up the floor and be like a playmaker, for others, like setting guys up. He did that really well his freshman year in college. And coming out of high school, he was really looked at like somebody that could be a star, So when he transferred over to Houston, his second year didn't go too great. His third year, he shot phenomenally. He was a combo guard. He could pretty much play the 1 through the 3. So going into his third season, because you forget that Grimes is only going into his third season, I think the playoffs, it was like his first time really understanding, like, okay, this is the real NBA. You feel me? And one thing I'll say about Quentin Grimes, every level, he'll have a hiccup in his career, and then that next year he comes back strong. So I just posted this on Twitter, and I was saying that I expect him to average about 16 to 18 points per game. You feel me? Because I think that he can do it. A lot of his game is pretty one-dimensional. It's pretty much just shoot or attack the rim. But I feel like what it really get him going is just more touches, not necessarily him just literally putting the ball up with shots. But the offense somewhat being predicated not for him to bring the ball up or do a lot with the ball, but just enough. You feel me? I think that'll really get Grimes going. I think that'll make him more part of the offense. And I'm expecting a lot out of Grimes. I didn't expect him to be this great of a defender as he is. I couldn't have saw that. I always thought he was going to be like a really good scorer and a playmaker for others, and that's why I wanted him the year that the Knicks drafted him.
Yeah.
So he's on trajectory to be pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I'm rooting for the kid. I really want to see him do well. I just feel like the Knicks have to come up with some type of offense that'll better benefit all of their players, not just not just Grimes. You feel me? I want to see a more fluent offense for RJ, Mitch, Brunson, and Randle. We got a 5-man unit. I want to see the starting five look very cohesive coming into the next season, So shout out to UCP, shout out to Alex, shout out to the other guy in the room.
Jake.
I really appreciate y'all, man. Y'all do a great job, man.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Have a good one, brothers.
Jake from East New York. CP the Fanchise, Jake Asman, Alex Rotaro says, salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Okay, so that was Quentin Grimes, a season review. I mean, what do we want to give him a letter grade, a number grade? What do you guys think? What do we get for Grimes here, man? We usually do our player ratings out of 10, so maybe we keep it consistent.
All right,
player
rating.
Do that?
Season player rating. You want to keep the numbers?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I see. Did you ask me to go first again?
Yeah.
I feel like
this
is a setup.
Since you're volunteering, season player ratings. Let's hear it.
This is a setup. But I'm gonna give Grimes.
Oh man, he's
8 out of 10.
A what?
8.
Oh,
8, sir.
Wow. Oh wow. So okay, kicking us off. Okay, he's giving him an 8. What do you guys think in the chat, man? Jake, what do you think, man? Out of 10.
My initial number was 7.5, 7.5.
Okay.
So I'm not that far off because I was thinking like who would have my highest grade on the Knicks, and it's obviously Brunson, I think. So I was like, if Brunson's pretty close to a 10 or 9.8, 9.9, because no one's perfect, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I got to base it off that. So about my initial read was like 7.5 for Quentin Grimes.
Regular season, I would definitely give him an 8, even 8.5. Filled his role and did it well. Regular season, definitely. Postseason, I got to knock him down a notch.
That's my thought, too.
I got to knock him down a notch. Postseason.
Bad in the playoffs. I went back and looked. I remembered him not being good. Like, obviously, he had the moment in Game 5 of the second round with the Jimmy Butler sequence. But you look at the shooting numbers. Like, I just looked it up. They were ugly, man.
It was brutal. Awful. It was brutal. So, for that, I got to knock him down. I got to knock him down to a 7. Got to knock him down to a 7. Yeah. 7.5. Yeah. I'll give him 7.5.
I see. I'm going with the 8 just because one, you're talking about the regular season. I get that. Playoffs is like trash. But the defense, we need the defense. Also, I'm gonna count in the first game. I don't know if it would have gotten back into rhythm sooner, whatnot. But from what he played, I'm gonna keep it at 8. I'll be the guy giving him the high score.
Okay.
Fine, whatever. But I think the defense was there for the most part, where I'm like, it's palpable. And I'm questioning whether Tibbs's rotations kind of messed him up too. It's for some guys as a player, man, going from being a starter to a bench player, it's a different role.
Yeah.
So I'm going to factor that in as well. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to factor that in as well.
All right. Okay. All right. So let's segue to one Julius Randle, ladies and gentlemen. Julius Randle. All-star. Another all-star year for Julius. A all MVP. All MVP. Whoa, slow down.
Whoa. What were you watching?
Whoa. Whoa. An all NBA type of year for Julius, man. 25, 10, and 4. Shot 45% from the field, 34 from 3, 75% from the charity stripe. Playoffs, different story, man. Came off the ankle injury, struggled at times, re-injured it in Game 5 against the Cavs. Only finished with 16, 8, 3, and 25% from downtown, man. Jake, I'll start with you. What do you think about Julius's year this year?
He's probably one of the most polarizing New York athletes we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
And obviously he's incredibly polarizing amongst Knicks fans. I mean, if you look at the regular season, he was great. He played every game until he got hurt towards the end of the year. And that's the one thing about Randle I think Knicks fans you have to respect. This guy doesn't do load management. When he's healthy, if he can play, he's going to go out there and play.
He's Iron Man.
And I think he deserves more credit than he probably gets in this fan base for that. But we can't ignore the postseason. And look, I understand he's coming off the ankle injury, and he did re-injure it, as you said, CP. But, you know, if you're Derek Jeter would say, if you're out there, judge me because I'm out there. And he hasn't been good now in 2 playoffs. And, you know, this time around, he had Brunson. And Jalen Brunson was thankfully able to take over these games. Without him, the Knicks would not have got as far as they went because Randle wasn't good enough for the second postseason run in a row. So who is the real Julius Randle? Is this what he is? Can we blame the ankle for it again? I don't know if I want to go there. So he's a good player, but I think most Knicks fans probably agree if this team's going to get to a championship level, he probably can't be the number 2 to a Jalen Brunson. He probably is better served as a number 3. And, obviously there was no trade for them to make to this point, but he's a good player. I think he gets a lot of hate from the fan base, but we can't ignore the playoff failures because that's a real thing with what we have seen from him.
Al, what do you think?
I think Jake hit it on the head, and I think we have to the season for Randle, him and Brunson get graded on there's a different curve, right?
Yep.
It's a different curve for what Grimes, everybody else is, and their grades, just because role players, it's different. When you're considered a star, it's a different curve. So the number is going to be different, obviously. But with the way I look at it as Jake said, very good player. From once Obi went down, and I think you see it both times that he really got into rhythm is when Obi went down, because he gets that extended playing time. Tibbs have to worry about how do I manage both their minutes. It allows Randle to really just get a feel for the game, get confidence, get to position, get the more attempts up, whatnot. And we saw that from December to March 5th, he was on one. Okay. He shot 47% from the field. He was shooting 36.7% from 3. All right. He was hitting 75% from the free throw line. Dude was averaging, let me just get to the per games because I had it on totals for a second. Dude was averaging 20. Where is it? He was averaging 28 points per game. He was on one. 11 and a half rebounds. Dude strong. Dude strong. Very good. But as you mentioned, the playoffs is down, man. And because of the playoffs, it's tough, man. It's tough to even really, for me, I can appreciate the regular season, but as even Jimmy Butler says, he turns off the regular season because it's where the playoffs matter, man. That's where it comes to. So I'm I don't know how to feel. It's he's a good player. I wouldn't trade him for scraps, but it's what is he? I have no idea what he is, as Jake said. So it's just, I don't know, man. He can be good. And I know some people are well, if he didn't hurt the ankle, he would have been fine. But we even saw prior to the playoffs, after that game against that double OT against the Celtics, the last half of the season was ugly. There were games that he was good. There were games that he was horrible. All right. There were games where he looked like he was checked out, and maybe it was just too much mentally, but it's tough, man. The case for Randle is just it's tough, man. It's very tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see it, man. It's tough. Yeah. I'll say this. Shout out to our guys over at Knicks Film School, Jonathan Macri, because he wrote a really good newsletter on it. And just the case for Randle, it's Randle can be evaluating Randle is maddening, because you can see the good, you can see the potential. We've seen it. It's even for the grade thinking this year, expectations wise, right? Low expectations, but we know what he can do because we saw it 2 seasons ago. It's this guy can be really good. Can he put it all together? And even for game 5 against the Cavs, the closeout game, we saw some sheer brilliance from him in that first half before he gets injured again. But we just don't know, man. And from there, you could be maybe that game, he finds it, he gets into rhythm, and then maybe him being healthy after that, he can help us against the Heat. Just a very, very it's a maddening case for a player.
He deserves credit for coming back after, the most the first season where he's coming off the All-Star year, the COVID year, they make the playoffs, and then the expectations are high. You get the contract, and it's a disappointing year all around. He has the incident with the fans where he's booing the fans, and Knicks fans turn on him. And then he comes out this past year, and he's third team All NBA. He makes the All-Star team. He deserves credit for that. Not that many New York athletes that I can think of in recent memory went at it with the fans and overcame it. Edwin Diaz with the Mets is the only other example I can think of someone that overcame it. So I think Randle deserves credit for that. I question if the Knicks are going to be a championship team, are they going to be able to do it with Julius Randle being one of the focal points on that team? Maybe if he's the third guy, but right now he's the 2 or he's the 1B to the 1A being Brunson. And I don't know if he's good enough in that role for the Knicks to get to where we eventually want them to get to.
Yeah, and that's the thing for me, man. But you're absolutely right, Jake. It's I've never seen someone with a career roller coaster from high to low, back high again in such a short period of time like Randle did. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting case study. Look, in the regular season, he was nothing short of outstanding. He was great. He was great for this team. 25-10. You know, you had, yes, in the loss, you had the 56 piece against the Timberwolves. You had the buzzer beater against the Heat. He had several moments. This team wouldn't have won the 47 games without him. Yes, Brunson deserves most of the credit, but Julius is right there. They're 1 and 1B, 1A, 1B, if you're going to dole out credit for why this team was able to lock in the fifth seed and make it to the playoffs. Like you can't discredit what he meant for this team. A rebounding machine, defensive rebounding machine. Like you need that, especially when this team's defense overall just wasn't that good. But he's part of that, right? He's part of the defensive weakness. Luckily, he's a beast on the defensive boards, and that helps cover some of the weaknesses, especially on the defensive end. Now, playoffs, you want to blame it on the ankle. I would have to put some of it on there. But it's hard to just say, well, his ankle was hurt. I mean, if you're out there, you're out there. And he just wasn't that great. The first game against the Cavs, I thought he was pretty good. But after that, it was kind of so-so. He ends up re-injuring it in Game 5. And then in the Heat series, he just wasn't there. Now, you could also point to, look, he played again. He went up against some solid defenders in Bam and Evan Mobley as well. But still, you know, no excuses. If you're out there, you got to perform. It just, you know, it was just lackluster. And then in the elimination games against the Heat, he was horrific. He was absolutely horrific. I think between him and RJ, I mean, they took the team into the construction business. They were brutal. And these are two of your top 3 players on the team. Like that's the thing. And as Jake said, like, can you? I've said it for years now. Can you trust them in a big spot? Heat series, big spot. Can you trust him? And he hasn't yet delivered for this team. The jury is still out on whether or not he can help lead this team to be a serious contender. I'm not talking about, you know, having a nice run. They had a nice run last year. I'm talking about being serious, legitimate Eastern Conference and Finals contenders. I'm just not so sure. And part of it is defensively, I don't think he's ever going to be a consistently good defender for this team. I don't think he's ever going to get there. And if you look at this, these stats here, again, shout out to B-Ball Index. They gave out their player profile. This is from his player profile page on B-Ball Index. Offensively, everything off the charts. A, three-point shooting, finishing, playmaking, offensive rebound, defensive rebound, offensive impact, A+. Here's a defense. D+ perimeter ISO defense. F on defensive impact. And this is from B-Ball Index. And then Tim Cranges, who's also a good follow on Twitter, followed up by saying that Randle coming off a career-high offensive impact year, as well as the lowest defensive impact he's had as a Knick by a bit. F in rim protection, D perimeter ISO defense, D+/F in defensive playmaking grades among rotation helpers held him down. And that's the thing for one of your top guys. Like, I don't, you know, this year, what was he in this 8th season? Will it ever improve? Will his defense ever improve? Will his defensive impact ever improve? And is this part of the reason why, you know, a lot of fans were clamoring to see the Obi Julius tandem? We got to go small. We got to go small. But with those two in your front court, who's defending? Who's defending? Who's intimidating at the rim? Absolutely nobody. You can't play Julius at the 5. So, you know, I don't know if he'll ever get there. Some guys just don't get there, man. You know what I mean? He comes in camp in shape. Offensively, he's ready to go. He's worked on his game. He's worked on his bag. They improved his shot diet, his shot selection last year, right? He stopped taking those long twos that he took 2 years ago. And it was, you know, step in or take some more threes. And it ended up working out for him. But defensively, I'm just not sure he can ever get there.
I mean, he's never shown that since he's been a Knick. I've never considered him to be a strong defender. Like I think, and what's funny is I was going to say his best is in isolation. Team defense rotation is just terrible. Like it could like you just see him running out last minute, checking out, or just sometimes like you just see him talking to somebody else. How come you didn't get that guy? It's like, well, maybe that was your guy. I don't know. Maybe you should have been out there. It's tough, man. But the argument then for Randle, like, and most people say his offense, and his offense is off the charts. Like you can rely on that. And it's also, you could say, hey, putting up 28 points a night, that's tough business. Right. And for a coach like maybe like Tibbs, you could say, all right, I can live with that, especially if you have Mitch as your safety valve. You know, you got Grimes out there. Now, if you have Josh Hart, like you add all these other ancillary pieces who can play some good defense. You had someone like DiVincenzo, who's a scrapper. You could say, you know, I could surround Randle. You know, if you do want to run small ball five, it's like if I have Hart out there with Grimes, even if you got Brunson out there, I throw DiVincenzo and you want to run small ball, I can survive with that. You know, even some other combination, throw Mitch out there. You don't even have to go that type of small ball. You can say at least, okay, I can understand that. But look, man, I'm not expecting him to be a great defender. But if you're not, like, the one thing you have to do in the postseason to be reliable is play defense. Offense is not going to show up. I think if you look through most of the numbers outside of the Nuggets and even for the hot stretch for the Heat, not everyone was shooting great, like their normal like shots from three, wherever. It's a slower game because more half court. So defense really becomes honed in. And if you're going to rely on somebody to take you to that next level, even Jokic, for a guy who gets his defense criticized, he still had some defensive moments where you're like, hey, obviously what he does on the other end of the court is otherworldly. But for Randle, you have to ask, can he at least give you some passable defense to stay in these games throughout the playoffs? And I just don't see that happening.
The body language too is a problem that alienates the fan base a lot of times, right? You watch Randle and just he plays hard a lot of times, and his emotions, he wears it on his sleeve. But that also, I think, is why he's so polarizing too. Like he's sometimes getting teed up, and you had the incident last year where I forget who the Knick was. Maybe Josh Hart was trying to calm him down. I think it was against the Heat, kind of late in the season. You had that whatever that play was. Like there's just incidents that have happened with him where he's kind of driven the fan base nuts at times, for lack of a better way of describing it. Like we all acknowledge he's a very good player, but there are clearly some issues in his game when you project how this Knicks team could get to the next level. But they need him because they would not have been a playoff team without him this year. So it's a big conundrum when you evaluate his game, because he's a good player, but there's things you could point to that frustrate you despite how good of a player he actually is.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll give him an 8. I'll still give him an 8. All-star, all-NBA. But playoffs, you're taking a step back. 16 points in the playoffs it's not going to cut it. I'll give him an 8. Give him an 8. I think that's fair. Give him an 8. What do you guys think?
See, and I'm probably gonna get heat for this because people are like, how do you give Grimes a higher grade? But I'll probably go like a 7.5 for Randle, because my expectation for him is much greater, like for his role, right? Like in his role as being a star, I expect you to be much better in the playoffs. Like for Grimes, I'm like, okay, role player, first year, really second year in the league, first time in the playoffs. I can expect you to be shooting poorly on offense, but defense, I can accept that for what he gave. Randle, this is your second time in the playoffs. I know you can play at a high level, right? We've seen it 2 seasons ago when you were second All-NBA. So I expect that out of you. That's why we're all upset the year before, because it's like, dude, we saw you make some brilliant passes. We saw you share the rock. We saw you orchestrate. We saw it all, man. And to regress that badly, that's why that added to the other layer of frustration with him the previous season. I'm going to go 7.5, man, because for him in the playoffs, it's got to be at a better level. You're out there, you got to perform better.
Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna go 7.5 as well, which is the same grade I had for Grimes. But I agree with what you said, Alex. you evaluate these players based on their role on the team. And Randle's role on the team is to be, I mean, going into the year, he was thought to be the number one option. Obviously, we saw what Jalen Brunson did throughout the year, and the conversation about who's the alpha on the Knicks certainly has changed. But I would say 7.5. If it's just regular season, it's a 9. It's a 9.5.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was phenomenal. But I go back to the last game against the Heat. They lose by 4 points, and Julius Randle shoots 3 of 14. He was nowhere to be found. Brunson single-handedly gave them a chance that night. They got anything from Julius Randle in that game in Miami. They're going back to the Garden, and they have a chance to force a Game 7. And I think
big spot. What are you doing in the big spot?
That's how we judge athletes. That's how we judge athletes in the chat.
They're rocking the pom-poms a little too much. See, this is why I rock with Jake. He's old school like me, man. He understands what it takes to win in this town, man. We've seen it time and time again. What are you going to do in the big spot, man? Go ahead, Jake, man. I cut you off. You're preaching, man. I'm with you, man. Go ahead, man.
No, you're spot on, though, right? Like, we judge athletes, especially in New York, based on what they do in the playoffs. Like, I'm a diehard Yankee fan. Like, no one gives a crap if Garrett Cole wins the Cy Young this year if the Yankees miss the playoffs or they don't get it done in October. Aaron Judge is great. A-Rod was winning MVPs in New York until he hit in 09 and won a World Series. Nobody cared. So it's like the expectations for Randle have been raised. We know he's a good player, but Jalen Brunson held up his end of the bargain in the postseason. He was phenomenal. And if Randle was a little better, they could have beat the Miami Heat last year. They could have went to a conference final. So that's why I got to knock the grade from what should be probably at least a 9 to a 7.5, because the first round against Cleveland, I know he got hurt, but before that, he was not very good. Yeah. And obviously the Heat series, there was like one good game in there and it wasn't good enough. So I think a 7.5 is fair given what his role is supposed to be on this team.
What do you guys think in the chat, man? What are you grading Randle on this year? My guy Jay from PR says he might not take us to the title, but we may win the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament. That's for us. That's for us, man. We're going to Vegas, baby. December, we're going to Vegas. It'll be better than the All-Star game, wherever it's going to be next year. It's probably in some dump. It might be in like Cleveland, Indiana, or something. We're going to Vegas, NBA Cup. Julius is taking us there. I like it, man. The group.
Is there a parade for that? You just only want to do a parade the playing tournament?
Oh, I'll be there.
Playing cup, whatever the hell that.
I don't know if we're gonna get an NBA championship, but if that's the parade we're gonna get, I'm gonna savor it.
I don't know, man.
Raise the banner, baby. Yeah. The Knicks have done it.
Raise the banner. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Salute to our loyal Fanchise channel members in here. Salute to Dr. D-Roy Bramwell. Says 8.5 for Randle. Also, happy birthday to D-Roy, man. Turned 51 today. So happy birthday to Leroy. Jamaica Queens 22. Salute. Who else we got in here? TM. Eric Garcia. What's going on? How you feeling, man? And Junior Caroma in here. He's a Giants fan, fellas. He's a Giants fan. Take it easy on him. Bees Noriega in here. Fanchise channel member as well. Salute, man. Salute to JJ. KG7 full. Always in here. Never misses a show. Okay. Randle Hive not too happy, man. I see one shot in here. He's not too pleased with what's going on. But he wasn't too pleased with the rating. He says Randle deserves a 9. Yeah. Okay. Respectfully disagree. Young Kobe, salute. Salute to Kobe, man. All right. There it is. So we did Grimes, we did Randle. Next week, are we doing DiVincenzo next week? What are we doing next week? Which one are we doing next week? Yeah.
I'm still trying to confirm on for the DiVincenzo recording. Okay. So we'll see. All
right. Yeah. All right. I like these, man. The season reviews are in. CP the Fanchise, Jake Asman, Alex Rataros on the 1, 2s, and 3s. Another episode of Knicks Weekly. And real quick, people, remember that this show is presented by Manscaped, man. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. I need you guys to check out the Beard Hedger Kit Pro. You see how clean shaven Alex was a couple weeks ago, man. We couldn't even recognize him. You know what I mean? He came in, he was looking like a Hollywood actor, man. So, yeah, check that out. That was courtesy of the Beard Hedger Kit from our guys at Manscaped, man. So they not only serve you below the waist, but also on your beard, man. The Beard Hedger Kit Pro. And as we said, man, comes with a brush. You get the beard comb. It's around here somewhere. I was using it the other day. You get the beard comb. You get your beard shampoo, conditioner, balm, and beard oil. So you get all of that in the kit. It's real solid, all sturdy stuff, man. Comes with a nice travel case with the charger and everything like that. So yeah, man, that's what our guys at Manscaped do for us, man. They take care of us, and they've been doing it for a couple of years now. So we appreciate their support. Make sure you guys go out there and support. And they're shipping a lot of places worldwide, man. So it's not just U.S., UK, Ireland, South Africa, I believe, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, France, so Canada, our friends above the border up north. So Manscaped is delivering to a lot of places worldwide, so make sure you tap in with our guys, man. #1 men's grooming tool below the waist. Go ahead and check it out. And no testimonials, please. No testimonials. No testimonials at all. Okay, fellas. So that was the Knicks portion of the show. Now the Jets fans want to tap in. They want to know what's going on.
There we go.
You got Aaron Rodgers and all of that stuff. You got the Hall of Fame game. Everything's on the up and up. Listen, man.
That's what I'm talking about, Jake.
For us that wear blue in this town, we got Saquon back. We're going to be all right. We'll take this week off. Maybe we'll bring John Schmelk in next week and we'll preview the Giants season. But let's preview the Jets, man. Al, I'm going to kick it over to you, and the leader of Gangrene Hive over here, you and Jake. and you guys have at it, man.
Thank goodness, because it's usually you and JD who are talking about the Giants. I'm just sitting here, just looking like, all right, guys, this is great. This is great. How about, and I get my one Jets thing, and you're like, that's so for Lash, if you're out there, Lash, you get to enjoy today's show.
So you got reinforcements, man. You got the leader of Jets Nation here, Jake Asman. So go ahead and kick it off, man.
Let's go. So Jake, let's talk about the big news first and foremost. Aaron Rodgers, man. What are we thinking about Aaron Rodgers on this team going into the season? What are your expectations for him?
I think he's going to be Aaron Rodgers if he's healthy. Like I think this guy comes in and look, they got to win. We all understand that. He's got to be healthy. I think we all understand that. But as far as ingratiating yourself to a starving fan, the Knicks fan can relate to this if you're even a Knicks Giant fan, because here's Aaron Rodgers coming in, and the first thing he says when he gets to the press conference is that Super Bowl III trophy over there is looking lonely. Like, I'm here because I want to be here. I'm here because I want to win. I love the team. I love the coach. He's showing up to Knicks and Rangers playoff games. He's going to the Tony Awards. He's going to Taylor Swift. Like, he has done everything right as far as reaching out to this fan base, embracing the city. And then he takes a $35 million pay cut. His cap hit this year is less than Zach Wilson's cap hit, Jet fan. So this guy has backed up his talk with tangible action. So yes, now he's got to play well. They got to win. But this guy has a chip on his shoulder. You could tell he's fired up with how it ended in Green Bay. So this is the most optimistic the Jet fan has been, Alex. I mean, you tell me, probably since 2010, going into year 2 of Rex and Sanchez following the first trip to the championship game. So the Jet fan has every reason to be excited because they had a really good team last year, minus the quarterback. And now you got a guy who wants to be here, who's won 2 of the last 3 MVP awards. So Jet fans are pumped. We gotta stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. But this is a season that everyone is so excited for, and rightfully so.
Staying healthy is the biggest thing, as you mentioned, Jake, and absolutely that's where my mind is at. Just from the trauma of being a Jets fan for so many years. And you're right, it's since 2010 since that was the last time we got to be excited. And even that year, for me, I was like, all right, can we do it again? Like, we were so close. Can we do it again? Like, the defense was just stout. We just, once again, actually, the issue still was the same. Defense was good. We just need a competent quarterback. But somehow Sanchez just was able to turn it on for the playoffs, except against the Steelers that year. So I won't go down that road, though. I will not go down that road. But does anything change now that we see that Aaron Rodgers taking a pay cut for this year? Like, we see Dalvin Cook was at the practice today. What do you make of the entire Aaron Rodgers taking less salary this year?
I think it shows just a commitment to win. I mean, the biggest narratives with Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to take less money. He's just using the Jets to get his contract because Green Bay didn't want him anymore. He's not going to show up to OTAs. He's not going to mentor Zach Wilson because he doesn't like working with young players. And like all these different things that have been said about him, whether you like the guy or not, you have to acknowledge it's been just patently false. He's been a model citizen since he's been a Jet. And look, they were a competent quarterback away last year, Alex, from being a playoff team. Like, this, you watch the games. Like, how about this for a stat that will blow everyone's mind? In the 4 games they lost that Zach Wilson started last year, so Zach was 5-4 as the starter. Guess how many total touchdowns the Jets defense allowed in those 4 losses? 3. They allowed 3 total touchdowns in those games, and they lost. They lost 4 of those games, despite only allowing 3 total touchdowns, which is insane. So, look, the defense is loaded, and now they have Aaron Rodgers. So as long as he's healthy, they should have a very good team. I'm not going to guarantee a Super Bowl, but this is at least a playoff team and a team that should have every opportunity to compete for the division for the first time in 20 years. So I'm pumped, man. I think Rodgers wants to be here, and that's probably the biggest difference between the Favre thing in 2008 and Rodgers here in 2023. Like, this guy's made a commitment, and he's said he's all in, and he's backed it up with his actions so far since that trade became official in April.
For sure. And let's move on to like the rest of the offense. Okay, let's move on because we got Mekhi Becton coming back this year. We see him in practice. We got Elijah Vera Tucker, who's looking healthy too. How do you feel about the offensive line? Because that was also shaky last year. A lot of injuries last season for the New York Jets, and that caused some problems as well. So how do you feel about getting these guys back? What are your expectations for that group?
That's the biggest key, right? I mean, you mentioned Becton, but AVT's coming off an injury. Dwayne Brown hasn't practiced yet. He's on the PUP list. They probably have 8 guys for 5 spots on the line. I think we know the guards. It'll be Laken Tomlinson and Vera Tucker. But, what's Joe Tippmann going to be as the center this year? Can he win the job? Jets and Giants are going to be compared with the center spots because the Jets took Tippmann and then the Giants took John Michael Schmitz with their second-round pick. So that's a fascinating inner New York storyline there. But that to me is the biggest thing. Now, the one thing I'll say about the offensive line, having Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback makes those guys better because he gets the ball out fast. Carl Lawson, I think, said the other day, he hates going against Rodgers in practice because he doesn't get to use any of his pass rush moves because the ball's out too quick. So, just having a guy who knows the offense, who could process quick, that makes your line better. But, that's the biggest thing, right? Can they protect him? And if they can, there's no reason to think Aaron Rodgers, who's missed only 1 game since 2017, can't go out there, be healthy, and play at least at an above average level. Maybe he's not MVP Rodgers, but they don't necessarily need that for this team to be very good, given what they should get from a running game standpoint and obviously how good the defense is.
For sure. And, we talked about getting the ball out quick. Obviously, you got to have the receivers to do that. We got Garrett Wilson. We got Alan Lazard. We got a crew. Even the backfield, we're still waiting on Breece Hall to get healthy, but we saw Dalvin Cook was at practice. We got Michael Carter back in the backfield as well. We got the tight ends, man. We got a whole crew, right? We got a whole crew on this for the offense. And we saw last season, even with Zach Wilson and Mike White, they can roll, man. They got some juice in them. So what do you expect for the total offense? Like for the receivers, let's stick with Garrett Wilson though. And shout out to my guy, Young Kobe. We're actually debating, do we go out and get a Sauce Gardner jersey? Do we get a Garrett Wilson jersey? Those are the type of guys that we're wondering, like, so what do you think about this offense? Do you think Garrett Wilson's gonna have a big breakout year?
I do. Garrett Wilson, I think, has a chance to be, maybe the best receiver they've ever had. And that's strong praise because Don Maynard's in the Hall of Fame. But this guy put up 1,100 yards last year, and his quarterbacks were Zach Wilson for 9 games, Mike White, and the corpse that is Joe Flacco. Like, I don't know how else I could describe just how good Garrett
that's very
was
accurate
last year. And I think people are going to take notice to it now because the Jets had 1 primetime game last year. And now, all of a sudden, they're playing in primetime 6 times. They'll have a lot of standalone national games in the late window. So, Garrett Wilson's the real deal, man. He's probably the most talented receiver they have had probably since Keyshawn Johnson, if you want to go back that far. This guy is special. So, between him and Lazard's a nice player, and Mecole Hardman's a burner. Yeah, him. I think Corey Davis, if he's healthy, is a solid pro. Like, they have a very good team. I know it's the Jets, and people are going to do it. Same thing with the Knicks. Until the Knicks went out there and actually proved they were a good team, it's always, LOL Knicks or LOL Jets, Knicks for clicks. People use the Jets for clicks. Like, they got to prove it. But as far as the team they have, after winning 7 games with no quarterback last year, why, if you're a Jet fan, wouldn't you expect this team to at least be a playoff team and have a chance to go on a run?
For sure. And once again, we're talking to Jake Asman. He is the host of the Jake Asman Show. You can also find him on ESPN Houston. And thank you for Knicks Nation for tuning in for Knicks Weekly. Yeah, we're on the Jets portion of the show now. We're on the Jets portion. We gotta represent the Gang Green Nation because, look, man, get enough big blue around here, so gotta represent the other team in New York. But Jake, keeping it moving. We saw Dalvin Cook was at practice today. He didn't sign a contract. He left. mentioned that he's going to wait, go back to his family, talk things through, figure the entire situation. Do you think he becomes a Jet? What are your thoughts about Dalvin Cook?
So I've always felt for a while now that this was headed towards him signing a deal with the Jets. Now, the fact that it hasn't happened yet, I think you go, all right, well, if it starts to drag on for a couple more days, then maybe you start to wonder, is it going to happen? But like, think about the timing of all this, Alex. It comes out that Rodgers took a $35 million pay cut. Then the next day, Dalvin Cook's scheduled a visit for this weekend. Like, I've heard from people I trust that Rodgers has been blowing up his phone since June when he was released by Minnesota, saying, hey, come to the Jets. We want you here. And they had the visit. He met with the owner. The Hard Knocks cameras are rolling. It just feels like they're going to be able to get something done. So I think it'd be a great signing. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. We know Giants fans know all about how the running back position has been devalued. So Dalvin Cook on a 1-year deal to give you some insurance in case Breece Hall's not right at the beginning of the year coming off the knee injury. And like, why wouldn't you want to make your team have that type of player? He still had 1,400 total yards last year. So I really don't understand why any Jet fan would be against bringing in Cook, because he's still a very good player and he makes you better. So I hope they get it done. I think they will.
Yeah, I hope so too. And look, this is a guy we're talking about that rushed for over 1,000 yards the last 4 seasons. He changes the entire thing. I think when you watch Kirk Cousins, right, you see how having him in the backfield just helps him, alleviates a lot of pressure. And I think for someone like Aaron Rodgers, if you're thinking about age, if you think about future, whatever it may be, having someone like Dalvin Cook on the team totally helps. Let's go to the other side of the ball. Let's go to the defense. All right. Defense. I mean, they were, as you noted with that stat, 3 TDs through that time period. That is just insane. Absolutely insane. What are you expecting out of this unit this upcoming season?
I think they could be the best in the league. They were number 4 last year, and that was despite not having a lead in really any of these games. Like, if you have Aaron Rodgers now, I think the expectation is you're playing with leads in the fourth quarter. They added a strength on strength with the Will McDonald pick in the first round. Quentin signed long term, so you got him locked up. I think Carl Lawson being healthy, Jermaine Johnson taking a step in year 2. Like, they got a lot of youth on that team. Bryce Huff is one of the most underrated pass rushers in the league. There's so much talent on that team. They got so much depth. And like Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed probably are the best 1-2 combo, as far as corners go in the league. So they're loaded, man. Like anything less than, at least a top 5 defense, I think you're disappointed, barring injury, because they have so much talent there. And Rodgers is now your quarterback. So you're playing with leads late. Teams are trying to come back on you, meaning you could send the house and get home with that fourth quarter pass rush. I am bullish on this defense. They were very good last year. If they force more turnovers this year, Alex, I think they have a chance to be, number 1, if not top 3 for sure.
Now, I saw something from The Athletic from Zach Rosenblatt. He was talking about how Jermaine Johnson is going to be, looks like he may be playing a hybrid linebacker defensive end role. What do you think about that?
I'm a big fan of Jermaine Johnson. He didn't play a ton last year, right? He had the injury and they had so many guys in front of him. But I go back to that play he made against, Josh Allen and the Bills, where they won at MetLife, where he chased him down with that strip sack late in the game. Huge play. Like that's his talent level. And you see he transformed his body. He's wearing the number 11 now, which I think is cool. He's back to his college number he wore at Florida State. So let's not forget, when the Jets took Jermaine Johnson, Joe Douglas came out and said, hey, we had him in our top 10 on our draft board. And the Jets traded up for him at number 26, I think it was, to get him. So they love him. And all the reports are that he's looked great in camp. So that's another guy you look at and go, all right, this defense was very good last year. But if he takes a big step in year 2, how much better can they be? That's why I think it's not going to be shocking if this is a top 3, dare I say, number 1 defense in the league, because that's how much talent they have on it.
Are you worried about the safety position at all? Because out of every part that I'm looking at this defense, between Jordan Whitehead and Adrian Amos, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
They like Tony Adams. They put out the depth chart today, and he was listed as the starter. I'm a little worried there because they're kind of thin at safety, but I mean, we kind of saw it last year. They don't really value the safety spot. Like, if you're putting Sauce and DJ Reed locking up receivers, and then you have Michael Carter in the slot, who's maybe the most underrated player on the defense besides Bryce Huff. You have a really good secondary there. Like, you don't necessarily need shutdown safeties to make this defense roll. When you have Sauce, you have DJ, and then you obviously have the pass rush up front. So I think Whitehead could bounce back, another year in the system. He was a good player in Tampa, and we'll see what Amos is at this point, but they really like Tony Adams. The reports are that he's had a good camp. So I hope they know more than we do, because obviously we look at the safety group, and that's probably the one part of the defense where you're like, not elite there, but certainly good enough to get by.
Absolutely. But now let's go on to the fun portion of this, because the Jets are on Hard Knocks, right?
Yes.
What were your thoughts when you heard that they were gonna be on Hard Knocks for this season?
I love it. I was excited. I mean, I went back and I watched the 2010 version of Hard Knocks. I do. I mean, I do it every summer, but I did it right before because I had a feeling like it was going to be the Jets. Look, the Jets maybe didn't want to do it, but all right, they're going to do it. And anyone who thinks, oh, it's somehow going to be this big distraction and it's going to affect them, like the last time they did the show was the last time they made the playoffs. They went to their second straight championship game. So I'm pumped. The fact that the Jet fan gets Hard Knocks and then One Jets Drive, their in-house version, basically.
Oh my God.
Of that show. Like, it's just honestly, it's just Jet fan porn overload. So sign me up. I'm in. I'm going to Canton later this week for Revis and Klecko's ceremony. So I'm hoping I could like get by the HBO cameras and try and say something ridiculous to get on the show. But I love it, man. It's gonna be fun. I just think the Jet fans are a lot like the Met fan in the sense that they always expect like the worst thing to happen. Like, oh, we're on Hard Knocks. This is gonna be the worst thing ever. Like, come on, man. If the Jets don't have a good year, I could promise you it's going to have zero to do with the fact they did an HBO show in August. Like, let's not make this more than it is. It's going to be fun for fans, so I can't wait.
It's funny. I feel like Hard Knocks. The one thing I'll say about Hard Knocks is that it's going to give you the raw footage that you want to see from practice. One Jets Drive, I love it, but I also have to like remind myself this is the ultimate propaganda machine.
Yes.
It is like it. I go in there, I watch it. I'm like, this. Oh my God, we're winning the Super Bowl every year. I watch it. I'm like, oh wait a minute. Let's relax. There's a whole point to this. You're getting me way too excited. Let 100%. Me go take a cold shower.
Now, but with 100%, but with Hard Knocks, the Jets do have final cut on what they could air too. So like you'll get some F-bombs from players and coaches. You'll get more than you would on, One Jets Drive, which, as you said, is basically, Jet propaganda. We're winning the Super Bowl every episode. But like Hard Knocks is not going to show like the playbook and reveal state secrets on what the Jets are doing. Cause that was the other thing. Oh, Belichick's going to see the show and he's going to know everything. Like, stop it, people. Like I can't do this, man. If you're a Jet fan and you're not excited for this year, please don't be a Jet fan anymore. And if you're a Jet fan and you're worried about Hard Knocks somehow impacting the year, I don't know what to tell you, man. I really don't. So I can't wait. I'm so pumped.
The one thing I will say that I'm looking forward to for Hard Knocks is I want to see the Sauce Gardner Garrett Wilson matchup, man. That's going to be fire. They're going to be talking trash, seeing who's going to be better or whatnot. I cannot wait to see that. Is there any part of Hard Knocks that you just can't wait to watch, like player matchups, battles, anything of that nature?
Well, you nailed it, right? Did you see the trailer they put out, like the 30-second trailer the other day?
I actually have not seen the trailer yet.
Alex, you need to go on Twitter or YouTube this right after. HBO put out a trailer for the Hard Knocks, and the clip was just Sauce and Garrett mic'd up going at it at practice, and it's
oh my God.
I probably have watched it 1,000 times since it was posted the other day. Like, it is that good. So you're gonna get your wish if that's what you're most excited to see. They already teased that with their trailer.
Let's go. That's what I'm looking forward to. Maybe some I want to see Mekhi Becton and like Carl Lawson go like some battles. I want to see something along those lines. Maybe even Jermaine Johnson if they're switching it up. That's what I want to see.
Dude, that's what I want to see. Payton stuff. They're gonna have the cameras around when the
the Sean Payton stuff. What are your feelings about Sean Payton right now?
I thought what he said was classless. He's not wrong for saying how bad the Broncos were and Hackett wasn't a good head coach. But come on, man, like you really gotta beat a dead horse and bury a guy in late July. Like, we know what happened. And then to say the Jets basically have tried to win the offseason and compare them to the Broncos of last year, or even mention like the 2000 Redskins who added like Deion Sanders and Bruce Smith at the end of their career, who were quarterbacked by like Brad Johnson. Like, that's asinine, man. Like, what superstar player have the Jets added that's past their? They added Aaron Rodgers to a team that was already built with the offensive and defensive rookie of the year. Quentin Williams is 25 years old. Like, they had so much talent on this team. That's why they got Rodgers, because they were a quarterback away. So I thought those comments were ridiculous. And I love that Rodgers eviscerated him earlier today, because it just shows you that Rodgers has the back of his coach. And I'm sure that meant a lot to Hackett and the guys in that locker room that he said what he said. So I thought that was a cool moment as well. And by the way, now all of a sudden Jets Broncos in week 5's got some juice. So,
it's got some juice.
The Jets have a stretch where they play the Chiefs in week 4, Denver in week 5, and Philly in week 6. Classic Jets would be they overlook the Bronco game because they're thinking about the Eagle matchup after the Chiefs game. Well, they're not going to be overlooking that one. Aaron Rodgers and Nate Hackett are going to be out for blood that day, so it's going to be awesome.
I need the Jets to finally beat the Eagles. I'm just saying that because we can't be Oh, we were like what 0-12 against the Eagles. That's got to change.
I would trade the Eagle loss or the Eagle game if they beat the Pats. If they beat the Pats twice,
oh my God. Oh, for sure.
There is no amount of points they could put up that would satisfy me in week 3 when they play. Like they need to put a 60 burger if possible up on the Patriots in week 3. Like that is the game they have to slaughter them. Like that is 14 straight losses against them. The cockiest, most arrogant fans in all sports are Patriot fans. They need to stick it up Bill Belichick week 3 at MetLife. Like I'll probably flying in for that game because I need to see it in person.
I don't like the Patriots so much. As you know, I live out here in Boston, Jake. I don't like them so much. I have not been to that arena to go watch a game because I will not give them my cold, hard cash. But if you're telling me the last game of the season that Jets are, playoff bound and the Patriots are stinking, and if you want to talk about a delusional fan base, they think at this point, they still think they got, just because they got Belichick, they can go to the Super Bowl. So, hey, if last season doesn't tell you, and the season before that, what happens without Tom Brady, tells you the delusion over there. But if you're telling me that I get to watch the Jets just eviscerate the Patriots last week, I'm all there. All there. First
how about this? They're so bad. The Jets have to play Zach Wilson. The Patriots are bad. The Jets have their playoff spot locked up. Division's already won. That last game of the regular season, Zach Wilson's the quarterback. So New England wins and it costs them the #1 pick. Like that's the other fantasy I have for how that unfolds.
That'd be amazing.
The last game of the season.
That'd be amazing. All right, Jake. But to wrap it up for the show, what are you expecting for the Jets? What is a successful season for you for this New York Jets team? Is it, just an appearance, get into the championship round? What is it?
So I would say the minimum expectation is you have to make the bare minimum is this has got to be a team that won 7 games last year and was 6-3 and 7-4 to now they're in the playoffs this year. They have the longest playoff drought in sports because the Kings made the playoffs for the NBA. So the Jets need to at least at the minimum be a playoff team. The goal for me for the regular season, win the AFC East. Get yourself a home playoff game. The Jets haven't had one since 2002. The MetLife has only had one home playoff game, and it was the Giants playoff game against the Falcons in that 2011 Super Bowl season. So that's the only time. It's time for the Jets to win the division and have a home playoff game. But at the minimum, make the postseason. And look, I think if they win a playoff game, that's a successful year, especially knowing you got Rodgers coming back for another one. But there's no reason why, if this team hits its stride, they can't go on a run deep into January. Yes, the AFC is loaded. We all understand that. But, you have a defense, you have a running game, and you have a franchise quarterback. So it's possible. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not Joe Namath. But I do think this is a very good team. And it wouldn't shock me if they're in a championship game, let's say, at Arrowhead against the Chiefs. I would not be shocked that is what ends up happening this year. I think they got the team that actually could do it.
I agree with you, Jake, where it's like bare minimum. They got to make the playoffs, but for me, they got to win. They got to win a game, man. Like you trade for Aaron Rodgers. I got to see a product, man. I got to see something like regular season wins. We're talking about it for the Knicks. Playoffs where it matters, especially in this city. I got to see it, man. I got to see Aaron Rodgers come here. You did the trade for him. All the talk, takes the pay cut. There's a lot going in, a lot of hype behind it, especially with Hard Knocks and everything. It's got to live up to the expectation now because it's just been typical Jets fashion. Like there's the expectation and then it just flops on our face and it's like, I can't have that. I just can't have that. So you got to make the playoffs. You got to win at least one round for me with this because I know it's the rarity of just winning a Super Bowl. It's just tough enough. So they got to do that for me. But Jake, thank you so much, man, for coming through. And look, for all you Jets fans out there, man, Jets play this Thursday, August 3rd, 7 p.m. out in Canton for the Hall of Fame game playing the Cleveland Browns. We haven't been in a Hall of Fame game since 1992. 1992. This is our second Hall of Fame game. All right. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's football. It's something to watch. Zach Wilson's going to start. How often do you get to see the second pick of the draft play?
Man,
3 years in. I think he's playing.
Now's the time to see if all that tutoring from Aaron Rodgers paid off right after 2 weeks, man. So great segment, fellas. Excellent job, man. Jake, definitely appreciate all the insight, man. Knicks and Jets. Outstanding job, man. Let the people know where they can find you, man. You're doing some big things in the industry right now. Let the people know what's going on.
The CP, I appreciate it, man. And once again, you guys are like the gold standard for like fan channels, right? So I do a show, as you guys know, Talking Jets, and so much of kind of how I built the channel is like you guys are an inspiration. So I definitely wanted to say that to your audience, because you guys are awesome at what you do. So I talk Jets every day on my YouTube channel. I do afternoon radio in Houston, so you'll see a lot of Texans, Rockets, Astros stuff on the channel. And as of this past January, I'm now on ESPN New York 98.7. Filling in whenever they need me. So I've done a couple shows for them. I did a show yesterday from 3 to 7. I'm on again, I think August 12th from 8 to midnight doing a 4-hour show. So hoping to get on that station as much as possible so people can hear me in New York. But I'm a radio guy first and foremost, and dabble with the YouTube with the Jets content. So I appreciate you guys having me on tonight talking Knicks and everything else.
Absolutely, man. We'll definitely do it again. But like I said, man, great job, outstanding job. And for all you Jets fans out there, especially, make sure you tap in with our guy Jake Asman, man, because to me, there's nobody better who's tapped in with this team on a daily basis than Jake. So make sure you support him. And make sure you support us, man. Salute to our sponsors once again at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. It's not just the Lawnmower 4.0. It is the Beard Hedger Kit as well. So go ahead and check that out, along with a number of other products, man. They have a ton for today's man. Remember that today's show is available in audio podcast format. No reason to miss it, man. We're available on all the major podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Alexa, everything under the sun. So make sure you guys tap in. But if not, if you guys are watching on video, salute to the Replay Gang as usual. Leave us a hashtag Replay Gang in the chat to let us know that you are tapped into the number one show for the fans by the fans, man. KnicksFanTV. The Datacaster, CP the Fanchise, Jake Asman. We out of here, man. Great show, fellas. Great show. TM, Gamba, all of our Fanchise channel members. We appreciate your support. And keep tapping in, man. We'll see you guys. Tuesday, the Nick hater himself, Frank Isola, will join the show on the NBA Report. We'll be talking Knicks. We'll go around the league, talk about some of the latest headlines, Dame Lillard, Miami saga, all of that good stuff. So make sure you tap into the NBA Report, and also go back on the NBA Report, man. We had a great show with Brian Scalabrine, man. Great show with Scalabrine reviewing the Celtics offseason. Jaylen Brown getting a big bag. Very, very insightful show there for you NBA fans who wanna know about the league at large, man. Tap into the NBA Report. We had a great show with Brian Scalabrine. We got Frank Isola coming up on Tuesday, so we're gonna keep it rocking, man. There is no offseason here on NBA Report or KnicksFanTV. We keep it rocking and keep giving you all the content that you need, man. So subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, share button, and we'll see you guys later this week, man. Peace.